The Pharaohs were the rulers of ancient Egyptian dynasties between about 3000 BC and 30 BC. Revered as gods by their subjects, they ruled over large extended families and were responsible for maintaining harmony in their expansive kingdom. Today, we explain what was the private life of the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. Upon rising from his bed in the morning, the pharaoh would be taken to a separate room where servants with titles such as Chief of the Scented Oils and Pastes for rubbing His Majesty's body oversaw the pharaoh's grooming. After cleansing the pharaoh, servants cut his hair and fit him with a human hair wig. They applied his eye makeup using a dark shadow and liner called kohl. The servants dressed the pharaoh in a linen kilt and added his jewelry, which usually included a large gold pendant on a wide neck chain. His morning routine was completed. The pharaoh was ready for the day ahead. Pharaohs usually had dozens of children, the result of having one or two major wives, several minor wives, and numerous concubines. The pharaoh only recognized as official heirs the sons and daughters of his major wives and sometimes favored lesser wives. Pharaohs frequently married female family members, including daughters, to keep the family bloodline pure. The pharaoh's family time usually included a midday meal with his wives and their children. When the pharaoh's sons were old enough, he would play board games with them or take them on his official rounds. The evening meal, which often featured musical entertainment, was for the pharaoh, his wives, and sometimes honored guests. The pharaoh owned all of the dynasty's land and made all its laws. His chief responsibility was maintaining harmony in his empire and acting as an intermediary between his subjects and the goddess, Ma'at. The pharaoh's first order of business each day was to receive people in his audience chamber. Foreign merchants and ambassadors would bring gifts for the pharaoh. Royal officials would appear before the pharaoh to obtain approval for building or irrigation projects. Generals would call on the pharaoh to discuss military matters. Visitors would prostrate themselves before the pharaoh in humble and absolute reverence. The pharaoh delegated certain powers to high-ranking officials, but he alone would declare war or order the death penalty. The pharaohs authorized the building of all the empire's structures, including temples and statues of themselves. They also arranged the building of their own and their family's massive tombs, many in the shape of pyramids. The pyramids of three pharaohs Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure make up the Giza Pyramid Complex in Egypt. Khufu's tomb, the Great Pyramid of Giza, is the only survivor of the seven wonders of the world. While these elaborate structures memorialize the pharaoh's deaths, the hieroglyphs, artifacts, and sarcophagi found within the pyramids, they have provided researchers and scholars with a wealth of information about the pharaohs' lives. Among the few female pharaohs was Hatshepsut, daughter of Thutmose I and the widow of Thutmose II. Surviving inscriptions on the walls of her temple indicate she slowly took on the trappings of a male before proclaiming herself pharaoh during the 18th dynasty. As pharaoh, she gave up her titles as queen, began wearing the traditional kilt and headdress of a pharaoh, and also adopted a wig and false beard. Hatshepsut was likely attended to in the same manner as male pharaohs, although by female slaves, and conducted daily business just as her father and husband had done. As ancient Egyptian rulers, pharaohs were both the heads of the state and the religious leaders of their people. After their deaths, many pharaohs were entombed and surrounded by riches they were meant to use in the afterlife. Explorers and archaeologists have discovered these tombs and learned a great deal about ancient Egyptian society from them. One very famous example was in 1922, when archaeologist Howard Carter discovered the tomb of King Tutankhamun, a pharaoh who died when he was only 19. We hope you enjoyed another episode of History Bazaar. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the fastest growing history channel on YouTube.